Alright guys, so remember how I told you that the stuff I tell you happens to me in real life? It manifests itself. So the word of the prophecy isn't just some theology that's independent of my own life. You can see this scar right here, guys. I had a wipeout on my bike, and I fell right on my face and dragged in the gravel. My nose is already recovered, but remember how I told you that in Isaiah chapter 3 that he would remove the scab from the scalp? Look at this. I have a scab on my scalp to bear witness of this stuff I'm telling you. It's true. And so sometimes things happen to me, guys, where literally I'm like branded like cattle with stuff, you know, like things will just happen. It was such a freak thing. I'm hiking and mountain biking all the time. I'm so cautious. Nothing happens, but it was just like bang. Next thing I knew, I was jacked up, man. But what happens sometimes with these things is they end up being like marks. Like I said, like he brands me like cattle. Like this one isn't as clear anymore, but this scar right here actually had a more clear handle on it, like a sword. So it was right on my thumb, and that has to do with him marking your thumb, what you set your hand onto, right? And so obviously there's a mark of the beast on the hand, right? And now I have a mark on my forehead. Now once the scab heals and everything, we'll see what kind of shape it has. It might have something. I don't know. Maybe it has nothing. But, you know, what I'm trying to get at is that these things are real, guys. And so, you know, don't just think it's, you know, you want to pick up on the spirit, what is going on. And the Lord will show you. I'll tell you later in another piece what the nose means. But I want to tell you about the scalp, okay? So that happened to me, right? Right after, boy, just a few days. Actually, you know what? Oh, it might have been a week or two. But the last string of videos, I did 3 videos all in one day. It was that day. So anyway, in this piece, guys, we're talking about the king's timeline. This is going to be very simple for you to understand. Well, hopefully. I try to make these things as simple for you to understand as possible. But sometimes I do say things in code. I say things by the Spirit. And I'm trying to pick up on if you're understanding me or not. That's why I end up frustrated sometimes, because I know you don't have eyes to hear and ears. Eyes to see and ears to hear. Because of different things. So the state of your heart causes you not be able to understand revelation knowledge or the truth. But some of you are, and praise God. But in this one, I'm not going to speak in code. I'm not going to speak in mysteries. I'm going to speak very, very simply that you understand the king's timeline. Okay? This is huge, guys. This is huge. There's things I'm going to present 2 videos, the king's timeline and Esther's year of preparation, okay? And I'm going to tell you dates, all right? And no one else is going to be able to tell you this. I'm just sorry. You would have to know how to read the times, how to apply the Enoch calendar to the exact date. And so people are still groping in darkness because they don't have the seal. I mean, you need a seal, guys. I made up a new seal, but you need to be authorized to do this stuff. You need to be authorized by the throne of heaven to have the seal. It's just like a passcode when you work in an office. You know, you have the employees that are on the first level, and then, you know, you have passcodes to, you know, executive, upper management. Well, end times is the same thing. So a lot of people don't have the authorization to do what they're doing, and they just throw out dates and throw out stuff and hope something sticks. I'm not doing that, guys. This could cost my life, okay? If I do this wrong, if I'm in error, if I set dates, if I set years, if I set times, and I'm wrong, it's happened to other people. Their lives were ended early. So that's why the church leaders don't want to talk about dates. Because they know they'll be under judgment, okay, if they're wrong. So I don't really want to do this. I mean, I'm not afraid of my life. We have to love not our lives unto death. But, you know, it's just difficult sometimes. You know, you just go through things that are just, you know, the prophecy is real, and it's not easy. Look at what God made all the prophets do. They had to go through things, and they actually experienced the words they spoke, you know. So many of them I've been through. But it allows me to have the authorization, guys. That's why I have the authorization. That's why I'm going to be able to tell these things that no one else is going to be able to tell you, because they're not allowed to tell you, because they don't have access to the room that has the information. All right. This is phenomenal information. And again, you know, if you just don't get this, there's just nothing I can do. It's laid out as simple as possible. In the book of Esther, we find that the king has reigned 3 years, right? And so what we have is we have a king reigning, which is giving us an exact timetable. So what happens is he reigns 3 years, right? And those years are, now here in this piece, guys, what we're going to do is when I present the information, sometimes I'm going to do exact dates. When I do, it's going to look slightly different. Here in this piece, I'm going by years, okay? So what we're doing is we're going by the major portion of this clock, if you were, all right? Now, you've seen this clock. I've had it before, and you see it here. See how it's black and then yellow, black and then yellow. Well, that's a year, okay? So this is a year. This is year 1, year 2, year 3. So the king reigns 3 years. Then, after 3 years, he holds a feast of 180 days. So now we have this right here. That is right here. And that's 180 days is 6 months. So he reigns 3.5 years, okay? Then he calls Vashti. Vashti doesn't accept. So there is no queen. That's why there is no bride of Christ right now, because we're in this time. Then, leading up to the last year, Esther's prepared. Esther's prepared for 1 year, and then in the 7th year of the king reigning, she's presented. That's right here, okay? But guys, the story doesn't end, right? That's just Esther chapter 1 and 2. So you have the king reigning, and how that lines up directly with the year 2011. That's the first year the king reigns. Then year 2 is 2012. Then year 3 is 2013. And then halfway, that point right here, is Passover 2014. Okay? And then you have, that's, that point is actually right here in between. So you got year 4, it's right here. This is year 4, it's right here. Okay? That's the halfway point, right? Then the king was wroth. The king was angry at Vashti. For what? 2.5 years. 1 year, 2, half. Here's the half right here. So half, 1, 2. Okay? So that brings us to Esther's preparation. And at the end of Esther's preparation, year 7, the king reigns. That's going to be in the fall of 2017. Okay? Once that's done, thus we begin the Great Tribulation. Now you can see I have that marked in another pattern. I'll later on add these for you and make these available for you to where you can see exactly the prophetic signs and different things that'll take place in the Great Tribulation, where obviously the beginning part is the trumpets. The latter part is the bowls. Okay? So then what happens is after, Vashti, then in the book of Esther, we find out that you have Haman, right? We have Haman. We have a Antichrist figure, right? Now, Haman has 10 sons, right? He has 10 sons. Well, don't we have a beast with 10 horns, which are 10 kings? This is exactly the book of Revelation. Now, there's lots of types and shadows in the Bible, guys, but it tells us clearly that Haman is hung in year 12. So again, we're given this king's timeline. So we have the king's timeline of all of these events here. It's the first 7 years of his reign. Okay. Then in his timeline, some years go by, and then we're given these events of Haman and Mordecai and all that. But the point by which Haman is hung, we're given an exact date. And that is the 12th month, Adar, in the 13th day. Now, the only way you can actually come to that date is to use the Enoch calendar, guys. So that's not the purpose of this piece. The purpose of this piece is to explain the book of Esther gives us this king's timeline. So some of the information in the book of Revelation relates to the book of Esther, but we're given this schedule of 7 years, and then Esther is queen, and then another 7 years of the Great Tribulation. Okay, and then obviously, if you're unfamiliar with the series, I encourage you to go through the series. It's called The Lamb Reigns 1,260 Days. That is this period right here. This does not happen on the earth. It happens in the throne in heaven. Okay? But we did not accept the king's command. That should trouble you greatly, because now we're in the seals. The Lord is not pleased with us. Okay? So we have to get ready. And the purpose of this work now is to shift the focus to get you ready. So those of you that are unfamiliar with this channel and the work that I've done, this piece is going out because I'm gathering the virgins to Shushan. And there's so much going on that you're just like, well, what about this? And ask questions, all those things. I've probably covered most of your questions already. Esther is the 144,000. And we have, I'm going to give you specific dates on when that year preparation is, okay? But this is amazing. You know, it's such an honor to be able to know this. I'm kind of taken aback by the fact that, you know, I'm doing this, you know, who am I? You know, I would think this would be viral and it's so exciting, you know, it's not. I'm just a voice in a wilderness, right? But I hope you understand the fact that Haman is hung in the year 12. This is, now what you do is, it tells us in Revelation 13 that this horn that rises up, this Antichrist figure, he reigns 42 months. Again, that's 3.5 years. Now, but once we know where he's hung, then we go back from there. So he does not reign 3.5 years or have his power the same way the Lord Jesus does here. It actually starts in year, or it ends in year 12. So that would be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and a half. Okay, so that's actually halfway in this 9th year right here. Okay. And what's amazing of these patterns, guys, is this one I didn't really do it, but this is a clock that's a week, right? So if this were day 1, the day starts at nighttime, and then the halfway point this is sunrise, right? And it goes around 7 times. Well, that's actually what this is doing too. So that here, black is fall, yellow is spring, okay? And so a year is kind of like a day. You know, a day has 24 hours, but a year has 12 months. It's just a half. But anyway, we'll be giving you more information. I'll be applying the time frame as to where you know, certain things are. The daily sacrifice is taken away. The abomination that makes desolation. Haman is hung. All that information we now know and can apply. I just haven't applied it to the same way as I have in this cycle. Okay. At this point, you may be asking, well, how do you know these years? You know, how did you come to this determination? Well, it's very simple. The years are determined by the blood moons. Okay. So in the spring of 2014 was the first blood moon, and that was in Passover, okay? So that's right here. Then it was a lunar tetrad, right? So you have 4. Each one of those corresponds to a period of time of 180 days, okay? That also corresponds to the first 4 horse riders, okay? And so you got white horse, red horse, black horse, pale horse. Those are the first 4 blood moons. Now the pattern continues, so that afterwards, where we just had in the spring again, there was another lunar eclipse, okay? And then there's going to be another lunar eclipse in the tabernacle season of 2016. So this whole pattern and sequence of the sun being sackcloth and the moon is blood, these are the seals, okay? And it directly relates to Esther's year of preparation. I'm going to do another video on that, okay? But in this piece, we're talking King's timeline. We now know it clearly. I've drawn the years. Of the years, I have year 1, 2, 3, 4. I have those directly. It's so, guys, this is so simple. Look at this. 2011 is 1. 2012 is 2. 2013 is 3. I mean, could the Lord make this any easier for us to understand, really? And then it keeps going. The only difference is once you get to 10, it's 2020, okay? 2011 is 11, but it's so simple. Okay, that concludes it, guys. Ask any questions, ask away. I've, done a lot on this already. I just wanted to go through a piece, talk about the King's timeline. This whole thing is mapping out 14 years, okay? So, God bless you guys, and, share this stuff. You guys are not sharing this. You're ashamed of me. You're ashamed of this knowledge. You're taking it for yourself, but you're not sharing it. This is good news. But share. Get the word out. What can I do? All I can do is just post videos on YouTube. And that's it. That's all I do. That's my voice. Other than that, I just disappear and no one would ever know where I went. So God bless you guys, and we'll have some more soon, okay?